welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Mr. Stripey plant, which is, I believe it's an heirloom. I'm about ready to rip this thing out of the ground. It's a massive plant, but it is not putting out any fruit at all. It has lots of flowers. I hit this thing with the toothbrush multiple times, and it is still not producing fruit. Here it is right here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a grasshopper. And this is the plant, and it goes all the way up there. And it's still not producing fruit. While over here we have the Park's Whopper, which is setting all kinds of fruit now, and have some growing, and I planted these at the same time, and it looks like it's going to be very productive. Also, the lemon boy over here next to the Whopper is putting on fruit as well. You can see some back in there, so they're producing. But this plant, this Mr. Stripey, is a total and complete disappointment, and I will not be planting anymore. And I'm about to cut it out of the ground and put it in a burn pile where it belongs, because it is a complete waste of nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium from the soil. Because I could have planted another one of these early girls and had some production going already. You know, these plants here, the Arkansas Travelers as well, is also a complete disappointment. Now, they've grown pretty large and they got flowers, yet they are not setting fruit either. You know, and these were planted a long time before these over here. These are hybrids over here, and look at the production that these were planted probably a month, almost a month after the Arkansas Travelers, and I got really great production, good looking tomatoes, and so yeah, I mean, I can't be wasting space in my greenhouse on plants that are not going to produce a good harvest for me. So it's time to make that decision to pull it up, because it's a big plant, but so far, and I've given it several weeks to start doing something, showing me that it's going to give me a single tomato, and so far nothing. So I'd be better off just pulling this plant and putting some of my I got a whole bunch of clones over here growing, and these are all hybrids too, so I'd be better off putting an early girl over there probably, which will give me a yield for the fall harvest. I mean, by the time this actually did give me a tomato, I could have a very large early girl putting out tons of tomatoes that I know are going to be good quality. So this was you know, an experimental year. I did do a bunch of different heirloom varieties because I wanted to see what would grow well, what would produce, and so that's the only reason I really planted them. And so far all the hybrids are taking the cake as far as production. The Park's Whopper is pretty good. The Lemon Boy, I believe that's an heirloom. It's actually pretty good for an heirloom too. Its production is actually doing really well. You know, my Better Boy plants are very good. And but you know, I just I've done decided that I'm going with the early girls. That I'm going to grow a lot of those because they just look really good. and they also taste really good too. And so for my bottom line as a farmer, you know, I need that high production value, and I also, for sales, need good looking tomatoes that people are going to want to buy. Whereas these heirlooms are, you know, they can look kind of muffed up and scratched up, and they crack easy, and they're just difficult to grow. So, yeah. Next year it's going to be early girls and early Goliaths, mostly. And I might do lemon boys and some park swappers, too. Because these plants are doing very well. But Mr. Stripey is going to Mr. Stripey heaven. Anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to stay up to date with what's happening on the tomato farm. And be blessed.